Let me bring in Simon Cowan from the Centre for Independent Studies. Good to talk to you, Simon.
Absolutely.
How long till we do actually get some real relief and interest rates can go down?
Look, I think that's an open question at this point. The market is pricing in some interest rate cuts later in the year, but, you know, a number of those are well later into the year. The Governor funded a press conference this afternoon in relation to this. She was very coy about the prospect of interest rate cuts. She noted that there were some assumptions built into their forecast that showed interest rate cuts, but she was not, and not surprisingly perhaps after the previous Governor's response to this, she was certainly not committing to anything that looked like an interest rate cut. If anything, she was softening the public up slightly for the prospect of another interest rate increase.
Yeah, in fact, Michelle Bullock, the new Reserve Bank Governor, it's the first time she's addressed the media in what's going to be the standard practice now after they had their monthly meetings, or slightly less than monthly now, and announced their decisions. She'll address the media. Let's have a look at some of what she had to say.
We haven't ruled anything out and we haven't ruled anything in. So I would say we have maintained the option that it might be that there has to be more rate rise, but there might not be either.
Yeah, it was a masterclass in saying nothing, wasn't it, Simon? If she keeps on with that approach, no one will turn up at these press conferences, which is probably the way they're supposed to be, right?
Look, I'm pleased that the Reserve Bank is now displaying some more transparency. I think it's important. Across the Western world, we see a lot more of this transparency from central banks, but not just from central banks, right? One of the lessons that we learned from the pandemic is that, you know, these unelected bureaucrats that make significant decisions on our behalf really ought to front the public and explain why they're doing what they're doing. And they shouldn't just be able to be behind closed doors and make decisions that impact everyone's lives without having to give an explanation. So you're not going to find criticism from me from that. I would have loved for her to give a little bit more certainty around the direction of some of these policies, but fronting up, that's a good start.
Yeah, well, you want to be careful with your forecasts, as her predecessor found out. Just quickly, Simon, before we let you go, while interest rates are not going up again, they're stable for now. We hope the next move is down. Is there still more pain coming in the economy? In other words, people are struggling now paying the higher mortgage rates, and there must be some people still coming off fixed loans straight onto these higher rates.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we saw in the statement that was released yesterday and again in the press conference that we're seeing is that certain parts of the economy have very significant inflation still. The RBA expects that inflation will move down into the 2 to 3% band, but not until next year. It won't make it to the midpoint of that band until 2026. And in areas, for example, like rent, we're seeing inflation that's still almost in double digits. So inflation's come off significantly in the sort of physical goods sector, but for services and for things like rent, it's still very, very high. And as the Governor noted in her press conference, that inflation itself, not just mortgage rates, but that inflation itself is also causing pain for people in the economy. And one of the big risks we have here is that what might motivate lower rates is actually a significant uptick in unemployment or a downtick in growth. And while that might bring some relief to mortgage holders, overall that won't be great for the economy.
No, that'll be tough for a lot of people too. Thanks for joining us again, Simon. I appreciate it. Simon Cowan there from the Centre for Independent Studies.